From MTN News, you're watching Montana This Morning.
Vice President Mike Pence stops in Belgrade. Why he paid a visit to Montana yesterday and what he's saying coming up. Firefighters battling the Bridger Foothills blaze end up fighting unfounded rumors instead. Also ahead, what led them to set the record straight. We'll have all that and much more. Meantime, it's just ahead of 6:30. Matt Elwell joins me now. We're looking at continued smoke in our airs, it sounds like, for the next couple of days.
Air
anyway.
quality is just a touch better this morning across southwest Montana. It's still not great overall, but the numbers are a little better, moderate for Bozeman, unhealthy for sensitive groups in Butte. We still have an air quality alert in place until further notice. For southwest Montana, there are a few clouds trying to flutter their way across the skies. Temperatures into the 30s, 40s. We've had some 50s, 54 in Dillon, 56 in Livingston, 28 this morning in West Yellowstone. Again, that smoke out there, kind of a strange look to look out toward the Bridgers this morning. Into the 80s as you head into the afternoon today. Is still very smoky out across the area. We're going to break down what that means as we head through the week. If we'll see any relief for the weekend, that's all coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Matt. 6:30 now. Our top story: Montana's GOP candidates get a boost from Vice President Mike Pence in Belgrade. MTN's Gabby Crevitt was the only reporter to get a one-on-one interview with the Vice President. She brings us part of that conversation.
But I'm here because Montana and America need 4 more years of President Donald Trump.
Vice President Mike Pence made a stop in Montana today to rally on behalf of President Trump and show his strong support for Senator Steve Daines running for re-election, Congressman Greg Gianforte running for governor, and State Auditor Matt Rosendale, who's running for Montana's U.S. House seat. In an exclusive interview with MTN News, the vice president said,
right after getting this president reelected, we need 6 more years of Senator Steve Daines in the United States Senate. And we need a strong conservative voice in the governor's office and in the Congress for Montana.
The vice president told the hundreds of people attending the event on Monday that it's all about continuing the president's agenda.
We rebuild our military. We revive the economy by cutting taxes, fighting for free and fair trade, unleashing American energy, and rolling back red tape at a record level.
The vice president highlighted the administration's response to the COVID-19 pandemic, a topic that continues to be controversial from people across the political spectrum. Another topic touched on by the vice president: wildfires raging across the western United States, and made specific note of the Bridger Foothills fire that started over Labor Day weekend in the Bozeman area.
We're encouraged that while the 28 homes were burned to the ground, that thanks to our first responders and quick action, there's been no loss of life. But we'll not rest, we'll not relent until we make sure that Montana, Oregon, California have everything they need to see our way through this extraordinary wildfire season and then rebuild.
Reporting in Belgrade, Gabby Crevitt, MTN News.
Now, we reached out to Governor Bullock for an interview. Governor Bullock responded to the vice president's visit to Montana with a statement saying, in part, quote, "I want to welcome Vice President Pence to Montana. Throughout this pandemic, I've worked closely with the vice president to advocate for Montana when it comes to PPE, testing materials, and the resources we need." You can see the governor's full statement on our website. More political news. They may be from different parties, but the candidates for Montana Secretary of State this year are both talking about the need for election security. As MTN's Dennis Bragg reports, the real difference is over what to do about it.
To hear Bryce Bennett and Christy Jacobson tell it, the integrity of Montana's election system is at stake. The question is where the attacks come from. Bennett maintains Jacobson and her current boss, Corey Stapleton, haven't deployed proper checks and balances. She counters with her support for voter ID for poll voters, accusing Bennett of not backing a tighter, controlled system.
My opponent has been caught asleep at the wheel when it comes to the security of our elections. You will not have to drag me kicking and screaming to use the National Guard cybersecurity unit or bring in experts from the private sector to make sure that no hacker can get into our election infrastructure. We want to make sure we've got people that have the experience of going toe-to-toe with the people who are trying to sneak into our system and undermine people's integrity in our elections.
My opponent wants to automate online voter registration. That's something I continue to oppose, and that it would prevent any type of fraud to seep in and, again, change our state from turning into California or Colorado.
The two candidates differ on more than the election process. There's also the question of business registration and licensing. The pair paint a very different picture of how the office is being run.
When we first took office, they were on hold for up to 2 hours. Now we answer the phone within 30 seconds or less. We offer our businesses to register 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and we've modernized our business registry. We've been the first in the country to do that. And I'm very proud of the work our office has done in the last 3.5 years.
That's just not the reality that I'm hearing from business owners from across the state. And when she talks about downsizing, what I've heard from them is that they've gutted the office. They've made it harder for folks to get their questions answered, and it's harder for Montana businesses to get registered or continue on and keep growing in this tough economy.
Dennis Bragg, MTN News.
6:35 now. Crews with the Northern Rockies Wildland Fire Management Team say the Bridger Foothills fire still at 77% contained. That's something of a victory for fire crews. The forecast was for strong winds on ridgetops yesterday. Those winds stayed relatively calm, giving firefighters a break. Fire managers also spoke up to counter a rumor that fire had jumped containment lines. This is per the Operations Section Chief trainee. The fire has not jumped the line on the northern flank. It has not jumped the line. In a release, the team says the south side, large portions of the east and west side, and a large area east of the main fire are completely contained. Again, 28 homes were lost in that fire that started Labor Day weekend. As of this past Friday night, Custer-Gallatin National Forest says holdover lightning from around a week before is believed to be the cause of that after a preliminary investigation. In a related story, State Creek Fire northeast of Whitehall still burning, but crews say it's now 50% contained and listed at 3,140 acres. This fire has been burning since August 29th. It's located on the Butte Ranger District in a hard-to-reach area for firefighters. In an official release, officials say some of the strategy is now to protect private homes and structures, heritage sites, and keep that fire off private land when possible. That includes protecting fish populations and keeping the fire from spreading noxious or invasive weeds. Also, the Lone Star Fire in Yellowstone National Park still burning. Crews there tell us there's been no significant increase in its size in the past 2 days. So far, efforts to reduce fuel for the fire around the water treatment plant and cell tower are estimated at 76% complete. According to a release, crews want to remind those driving in the area that the majority of the smoke that can be seen is from the large fires in California. For now, all of the roads near the fire and park entrances remain open. And crews continue to work on the Lobo Mesa fire, which started between Cascade Mountain and Lobo Mesa, just west of Cliff and Wade Lakes in the southern Gravelly Mountains over this weekend. Fire estimated at 10 acres with no structures threatened. Forest Service says this fire is remote, but are still working to contact and alert any potential bow hunters in that area. 6:37 now. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, the losses from wildfires in West Coast states could set a new record. Just ahead, learn how high that figure might be. But first, let's check in with our friends at CBS This Morning to see what's coming up at 7.
Good morning to you. Ahead on CBS This Morning, Bob Woodward joins us. The legendary journalist and author reveals new audio and details from conversations with President Trump and tells us if anything took him by surprise. And Maren Morris has the most nominations for a female artist at this year's ACM Awards. The country star opens up about her struggles as new mom and not being able to tour during this pandemic. She's talking to Anthony again. And NBA superstar and social justice champion Carmelo Anthony tells us how he's using his new clothing line to increase support for black fashion designers. We'll see you at 7 o'clock on the dot.